Hello chaps. On my last video I pointed out this donation POC appreciation button. I was quite pleased to be able to put it up there, and I'm pleased to say several of you have made a donation. Well, what can I say? A great big thank you. I can't say thank you enough. It looks very promising. I think there's a good chance I will get myself another camera, and more than just the money, of course, it's the fact that you've put yourself out and taken the time and the trouble. And for all those who sent good wishes and kind words, again, thank you. To those who couldn't make a donation because of some glitch in country of origin, well, the thought was there, so thank you to you as well. Okay, I'll move on. Until I've raised enough to buy a new camera, I'm using my phone and just taking still shots. And the following video is about the hot wire cutter. Several people have asked me about this. I have shown it before. I believe it's on my waffling again in the workshop video at the end, and it's on last week's one and another one. Can't remember, I've done so many now. But anyway, here's a step-by-step how to make a hot wire cutter. You can do it easy peasy. It's not difficult, it's not expensive. Just follow this instructions. You can deviate if you wish, there's nothing critical. So we'll make a start. The hot wire cutter. Here we have my basic hot wire cutter. It's basically made out of wood. There's no exact dimensions. I don't work to plans, cutting list or any such thing. I'm not clever enough to work to plans. I use what I've got. But I'll give you dimensions of what this one is, and it's up to you whether you choose to follow along. Anyway, it's basically a box made out of plywood. And as you can see, it's about 18 by 18 inches square, and it's about 6 inches deep, and this I find a very handy size. Using a straight edge from corner to corner, both diagonally, draw a light line across the top of the box, and where both lines meet or intersect is the centre of the box. Drill a 3/8 hole in the centre of the box. Your hot wire will pass through this hole. More on that in a moment. Next we need a piece of timber, 1.5 by 1.5, 19 inches long, and this is our back support. Glue and screw it to the back of the box and make sure that it's vertical. At the top of this piece of wood, cut a slot to take the arm that goes across the top of the machine. This arm is 3/4 by 1/2 inch by about 12 inches long, and you want to bolt through it so it pivots. And as you can see, I've screwed a cup hook in one end in which to attach rubber bands, and this gives tension to our wire. You could, if you wish, use a spring, but rubber bands work, and you can always add some or take some off to increase or decrease the tension on the wire. At the other end of this top piece, I've drilled an 1/8 hole, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches in depth, and I've inserted a small piece of 1/8 brazing rod, brass brazing rod. And before I'd done that, I filed with a 3/4 file, and if you haven't got one, or use a hacksaw, put a groove round the tip. The actual wire sits in this groove and won't slip off. At the same time, solder on some braid. In this case I've used coax outer screen, but any sort of flexible weave cable will do. Attach that to the brass piece, tape it along the arm, down the support and through a hole in the back of the box. Inside the box we have another piece of wood, a small block, again with an 1/8 hole drilled through it to accommodate a piece of 1/8 brass brazing rod. Do the same to the end of this brazing rod, put a groove in and place the groove directly over the centre of the hole we drilled through the table. Then glue this block to the bottom of the table. The next thing we need to do is to obtain a transformer. It can be a heater transformer, a valve heater transformer, about 6.3 volts, 3 or 4 amps output would be plenty. Something like this. If you can't get a heater transformer, try a bell transformer. They give out about 6 volts. It's not critical. Fix the transformer to the box with nuts and bolts. The transformer has 2 windings, the primary, the input winding, and a secondary, the output winding. The output winding goes to the 2 pieces of brass brazing rod, to which later will be attached a hot wire. And the primary, the input winding, goes to the mains via, or in series with, should I say, a light dimmer switch. This light dimmer switch on my model is an MK and I think is rated about 400 watts maximum. The light dimmer switch you can get from electrical retailer, hardware store. They don't cost a lot. And the transformer you can probably get from Radio Shack, Radio Spares, Maplin or similar. In this case, for the sake of safety, I've attached a wire to the frame of the transformer, and this is our earth or ground. Perhaps the most difficult part of the entire build is sourcing and making the element, the hot wire. On commercial machines or expensive machines you buy, this is invariably nichrome steel. But although it's very cheap to buy, you can buy a small reel of it. It seems somewhat of a shame to buy a roll of this stuff when all you really want is about 1 foot or 18 inches. And since I hate waste, I use stainless steel, and I find stainless steel works absolutely well. I obtain my stainless steel by unravelling flexible stainless steel, the sort of stuff you can buy in hardware stores, boat chandlers for dinghy rigging, this sort of thing. And you only need bimeter, or less if they'll sell it, and you unravel it because it's made up of many fine wires. Unravel it till you've got one single wire, and you'll have loads of spares, of course. Ideally this wire wants to be 0.3 to a maximum of 0.2 to a maximum of 0.3 of a millimetre. This is the ideal size to aim for. Then all you need to do is make an eye at each end. You can just simply whip an eye or twist it, or as I've done in this case, I've used little sleeves and I've poked the wire back through the sleeves, and you can get these sleeves in fishing tackle shops, and I believe they're called crimps. Just gently nip them up with a pair of pliers and it gives a very neat finish, but make sure the crimps don't stick above the top of the table or you won't be able to cut easily. Don't worry if your wire is a bit wavy after having unravelled it, or a minor kink or bends. The very first time you switch this on, it'll automatically straighten up in a matter of just minutes. If you are copying me and making my size of machine, the distance from eye to eye needs to be about 14 inches. Having got this far, how do we actually operate a hot wire cutter? Well, we plug it in and we switch it on, and we slowly advance the light dimmer switch until the wire starts to glow red. At that point, immediately back off the light dimmer till it goes back to black, and it is roughly that position that is the ideal heat setting for our machine. I should also point out that you should stand either in front of the machine or to one side. Do not place your head above, as the fumes given off are very unpleasant. If you intend to do a lot of cutting, then perhaps it would be advisable to rig up a simple extraction fan above the machine. But do avoid drafts, as this will cool the wire considerably. So I hope this video has given you enough information to build yourself a hot wire cutter. As you can see, it's quite simple, and you can, as I said before, copy my design. But you can make it much larger, you can make it smaller, you could make perhaps a bow arrangement, a handheld device. If you're really creative, you could make some sort of lathes where the material revolves around the wire. There's many things you can do. Get creative. Anyway, thanks again, folks, and I hope you found this interesting. Bye for now.